Welcome back to Hispanic Business Today, where we promise always to give you real-life success stories. Well, she may not be a pilot, but she is definitely in the driver's seat. Millie Hernandez Becker took a summer job at a startup airline and managed to catapult herself into being the owner of one of the most respected air charter services in the nation. She meets turbulence and easy landings hand in hand on a day-to-day basis, which is why she took time out of her busy schedule to share with us the secrets of her staying power.
My family is the #1 reason why I'm able to do what I do today. I was born on the west side of Manhattan. I'm a Latin from Manhattan. My parents both migrated here from Puerto Rico, both lived the American dream, educated themselves here, worked very, very hard here to progress and to give their family the things that all parents want to give their children.
Charged to set her goals high, Millie Hernandez Becker reached for the sky and managed to grab a big chunk of it, literally. As president and CEO of executive air charter service Westchester Air, she steers one of the most successful charter lines in New York. That includes the supervision of 5 full-time employees and 10 part-time pilots, as well as the scheduling of over a dozen other aircraft operators.
I am the only Latina woman that owns an FAA-certified Part 135 air charter company in the United States.
But it didn't happen overnight.
I actually started in aviation in 1981. In the late 70s, aviation was deregulated, and that made room for a lot of new carriers like People's Express, and one carrier in particular named New York Air. I was a teacher by profession, and on summer vacation, when I had the opportunity to do some part-time work for New York Air out of LaGuardia Airport. When September came around, I was completely bitten by the aviation bug and was offered the opportunity to go into a reservations class, and I did that. So at that company, I was a reservation agent, then I became an airport agent, ticket agent, an operations agent, and then a flight attendant.
A 1985 transition to the Westchester County Airport would prove life-changing and take Hernandez Becker's work in aviation to the next level.
I met a gentleman by the name of David Becker who had one airplane and the biggest cell phone I ever saw, and he ran his own company, Westchester Air. He was the founder of Westchester Air. I booked all the flights, I did all the marketing, I did all the bookkeeping, and I dispatched the flights as well with the pilots.
She and Mr. Becker would also be married during this vibrant time for the business, but success met tragedy when Becker died in a plane accident in 1994.
I inherited the company and I run it today.
With marked success. Though Westchester Air's fiscal figures are private, one need look no further than the National Business Aircraft Association's data on charter services to know that business is booming. General aviation aircrafts continue to become more popular, partially due to convenience. They have access to approximately 5,400 airports in the United States. This compared to the nearly 580 served by the scheduled air carriers.
That gives us a tremendous stage where we can get someone from point A to point B very effectively and very safely.
Furthermore, nearly 75% of all airline passengers travel to or from the top 29 air carrier hubs. On the other hand, general aviation accounts for only 9% of the total traffic at those airports, meaning locations like Westchester's airport can offer, more times than not, less congestion, more assured punctuality with scheduling, and the ability to land closer to your destination. Those are much appreciated perks, according to the jet-set crowd Westchester Air carries around.
We fly folks like Bernie Williams and people from Priceline.com. Playtex is a client of ours, and many other companies and individuals.
Meanwhile, the age-old issue of access to capital keeps this Latina businesswoman challenged and searching for creative ways like venture capital to keep her business afloat. She receives support from Hispanic-owned New York National Bank for much of that guidance.
Our business is a very capital-intensive business. The airplanes that we operate are $1 million pieces of equipment and up. So it's extremely capital intensive. One of the hoops that I've come across is access to capital. It's not always there, or if it is there, the criteria is just a little bit different than it is for someone, for a man, and certainly for someone who's not of Hispanic descent. The interest rates are higher. There's a great amount of rhetoric about all these programs that are out there to help the minorities and to enable them to take advantage of today's healthy economic climate. I haven't found that to be the case. Once you get past all of the paperwork and you read the fine print, you know, they still want more for the money, or there's criteria, or they want your house, or they want your firstborn, which I'm just not ready to give up.
And looking at the face of her 4-month-old, one need not wonder why giving him up is out of the question. Hernandez Becker, a self-proclaimed survivor, now shares a new life with her husband Thomas Bush and new plans for Westchester Air, which include the construction of a new corporate headquarters that's being built on the other side of the Westchester Airport's field. With all of those commitments, she shows no sign of landing anywhere but on her 2 feet.
It is challenging to balance that act on a day-to-day basis. People sometimes ask me, you know, what are the obstacles? I tend to ignore the obstacles. I don't believe in them. Sure, they exist and they're out there, but you can't focus on them. You have to look past them. You have to go over those hurdles. You have to jump. You have to overcome.
Hernandez Becker recently accepted an appointment on the National Women's Business Council Board. Small Business Administrator Aida Alvarez nominated her. The Independent Advisory Council was created by Congress in 1988 to make recommendations to the President and U.S. lawmakers. It also examines the status of women business owners in the U.S. And no stranger to public policy herself, Hernandez Becker has appeared before congressional committees numerous times as a witness on women's issues.